The scene unfolds at the black market at night, filled with shady figures trading dubious items. Jiang strolls through the crowd, overhearing doubts about the legitimacy of the goods. He notices Li Shuxiong arguing with a scammer over the price of a jade bracelet, insisting it should be sold for 300 yuan instead of 2,000. Claiming the bracelet is clearly fake. The scammer concedes, telling Li to keep quiet so he doesn't ruin the scheme. Jiang observes Li's actions and internally scoffs at Jing for falling for someone like Li. But Jiang's thoughts were interrupted by the sight of some melee weapons, and he spotted what he had been looking for. He asked the seller if there were any better weapons available, but the seller simply tossed a knife sharpener onto the ground, suggesting that if Jiang wanted higher quality, he should grind it himself or settle for a baton. Jiang replied that it wasn't enough, and that he needed something better. The seller then asked what he meant, questioning whether Jiang was looking to cause trouble. Jiang wasted no time, transferring 200,000 yuan to the seller's account. He cautioned the seller not to get excited, emphasizing that he wasn't an ordinary customer. The seller turned to his friend Xiaoxiang, instructing him to watch the stall. Then, shifting his tone, he told Jiang they should conduct business elsewhere, as discussing details outside was inconvenient. The scene shifts to a house somewhere, where the seller presents some homemade guns, enough to shoot a chicken or two, priced at 2,000 yuan. Jiang, unimpressed, insists that it's not good enough. The seller wonders what Jiang could possibly want, and offers a replica revolver for 5,000 yuan, claiming its performance is nearly equivalent to that of an active-duty handgun, firing 9mm bullets that cost 5 yuan each. Losing his patience, Jiang reminds the seller that what's being offered doesn't suit someone who prepaid 200,000 yuan. The seller, now nervous, asks what Jiang means by prepayment. Jiang clarifies that what he sent was only a 10% deposit, as he intends to purchase 2 million yuan worth of weapons. The seller's anxiety grows, and he questions Jiang about his profession to spend such a sum on arms. Jiang replies that he typically doesn't handle trivial matters himself, his subordinates do most of the work, but recent changes have altered that. He warns the seller not to pry too much, and asks if he can handle the transaction. The seller asks Jiang to wait a moment, and then proceeds to lock the doors, turn off the lights, and peek through the windows to ensure no one is watching. He turns to Jiang, assuring him that he's the right person for this job, and that he can handle it. The seller instructs Jiang to write a list of what he needs, promising to provide an address. He informs Jiang to meet at the agreed location at midnight, 2 days from now, to complete the transaction, reminding him to bring cash. As Jiang walks out of the location, Li Shuxiong spots him and approaches, commenting that after their meeting at the black market, it's no surprise Jiang is spending so much and ignoring Jing. He suggests that Jiang's family must have some heirlooms. Mockingly, Li questions whether Jiang has been watching too many marketing accounts and decided to sell everything to live comfortably. Jiang pays him no mind, thinking this is the perfect moment to use his special ability. Activating Mind's Eye, he perceives how others see him. A happy face icon hovers above the seller's head, while a grumpy face icon appears above Li Shuxiong's. Internally, Jiang praises the usefulness of his ability. He then proceeds to berate Li, accusing him of being a liar who tricked Jing into bed with fake jewelry and second-hand products. He asserts that Jing is just second-hand to him, much like the items Li is holding. Li Shuxiong, enraged by Jiang's comment, had his icon changed to an angry face. The seller, noticing the tension, asked Jiang if he knew the man in front of them. Jiang responded that Li Shuxiong was not just an acquaintance but an enemy. The seller offered to handle it, suggesting that he and his friends would teach Li Shuxiong a lesson. Jiang warned them not to kill Li, explaining that he had other plans for him. As the group approached, Li Shuxiong grew increasingly nervous. Eventually, they beat him up, and Li swore internally that he would get back at Jiang. 2 days later, back at Jiang's base, the weapons arrived, and the system notified him of the mission's completion. In addition to the 10 points Jiang earned, he received a physical enhancement potion that granted a 2-point strength boost. Grateful for the bonus, Jiang remarked that the item was twice as effective as the one in the system store. After injecting himself, he felt a surge of energy rushing through his body, and noted that an average adult male's physical strength was around 5. With the added 2 points, Jiang calculated he was now 40% stronger. Pleased with the result, he decided to maximize the advantage, and purchased another physical enhancement potion from the system store, bringing his total strength to 8 points. Eager to test his newfound power, Jiang noticed a metal bar, grabbed it, and kicked it. The bar flew through the air, bending and cracking the wall upon impact. Ecstatic at the results, he turned to the weapons he had bought and stored them in his ring. He pondered what to do next, knowing that the apocalypse would begin in 2 days. Remembering Old Man Li's comments about him and his daughter, Jiang laughed at himself, reflecting that despite living through the apocalypse and witnessing the darkest sides of humanity, he still found it hard to ignore the suffering of others. He resolved to help them by sending essential supplies, knowing that they had played a part in helping him achieve his plans. As Jiang arrived by car at the rundown apartment where the old man seemed to live, he thanked his GPS for guiding him, knowing he would have had a hard time finding the location otherwise. He observed how poor the old man's living conditions were, noting the cheap rent and the fact that the old man lived on the top floor. Before knocking on the door, Jiang paused, realizing he should take the supplies out of his ring first. It would be difficult to explain later. When he used the ring, a bright light shone as boxes piled up near the entrance. Once everything was out, Jiang knocked on the door. When the old man opened it, he mistook Jiang for the landlord and began promising to pay rent next week, but quickly froze in shock upon seeing Jiang instead. Confused, the old man asked why Jiang was there, then noticed the pile of boxes surrounding the entrance and blocking the stairwell. Jiang told him they could discuss it later, but first they needed to move the boxes inside before any neighbors saw them. The old man, impressed by Jiang's strength and energy in moving so many boxes without losing his breath, commented on it. Jiang noted that the old man's room was decent and the front door solid enough. Jiang then asked the old man to listen carefully. He explained that the supplies should last them about 6 months if used wisely, because tomorrow the world would. But before finishing, Jiang noticed a picture frame with the old man and his granddaughter. Realizing the girl was Shanshan, his friend from a past life, he asked if that was her name. The old man, surprised, asked how Jiang knew her name, as he hadn't mentioned it before. With a serious tone, Jiang asked where Shanshan was now. The old man replied that she was still attending school in their hometown, but would transfer after they moved into Jiang's house. Jiang recalled how, in his past life, Shanshan blamed herself for her grandfather's death. Her grandfather had risked everything to rescue her, breaking through her high school, which was overrun with zombies. While he managed to save her, he lost his life in the process. Determined not to let history repeat itself, Jiang vowed to save them both this time. He then told the old man that they wouldn't be moving into his house anymore, leaving the old man shocked. When the old man begged him to reconsider, Jiang clarified that the apocalypse would start tomorrow. He insisted they visit Shanshan's school immediately to pick her up, after which he would arrange a new place for them to live. The old man, unable to grasp the gravity of what Jiang was saying, asked for clarification. Jiang realized the old man was too old to understand the situation fully, and thought of another way to explain. He asked the old man if he remembered the meaning of the word famine, which the old man confirmed. Jiang then tried to compare the upcoming apocalypse to the terrors of past famines, but the old man found it hard to believe that such a thing could happen in a peaceful era. Even if famine struck, he doubted it would be as bad as the past. Running out of explanations, Jiang decided to demonstrate his powers by using the ring to suck up everything in the old man's house. Shocked, the old man asked what kind of magic Jiang had used to make his belongings disappear. Jiang, flaunting his power, told him that not only could he do that, but he also knew the future. He then warned that if the old man wanted both himself and Shanshan to survive, they needed to follow Jiang's instructions from that point forward. Jiang asked the old man to take him to Shanshan's school. After some time driving, they arrived at the school and hurriedly began searching for Shanshan. Meanwhile, at the school campus, a girl, presumably Shanshan, stood surrounded by students. As the scene unfolded, it became clear that a typical jealousy drama was in progress. One girl, furious that Zhang Xiaocheng seemed to prefer Shanshan over her, slapped Shanshan and demanded to know what part of Shanshan Jiang liked. Shanshan calmly explained that she wasn't interested in Jiang, and he was the one insisting on being with her. However, the other girl wasn't having it. Enraged, she kicked Shanshan and pulled her hair, refusing to believe that Jiang was the one clinging to Shanshan while being rejected. Before things escalated further, Jiang and the old man rushed over to intervene. The old man, protective of his granddaughter, demanded that they let go of Shanshan. However, 3 male students, showing no respect for elders, flaunted their weapons and threatened the old man, warning him not to interfere. Desperate to protect Shanshan, the old man lunged at one of the students. As one of them swung a bat at him, Jiang intercepted it with one hand, his expression turning serious as he told the group they shouldn't be thugs at such a young age. The two remaining students, initially mocking Jiang, quickly realized they had underestimated him when Jiang kicked one with such force that he was flung backward. The carefree attitude of the other two shifted to nervousness after witnessing their friend get taken down so easily, but for the sake of their pride, they decided to attack Jiang 2-on-1. One student swung a bat at him, but Jiang dodged swiftly, grabbing the attacker and slamming him to the ground. The other tried to stab Jiang from behind, but Jiang countered by grabbing the knife and kicking the student behind the knee, sending him crumpling to the ground. As Jiang turned his attention to the girls, the one who had slapped Shanshan, now nervous, asked what Jiang intended to do to them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we end our video for now. If we have created the next one, click the video on the right. And if you want to watch the previous video, click the video on the left, and as always, I'll see you next time. Subscribe.